Hey, what's up guys, it's someone died back in this YouTube channel, and today I'm going to continue the Realish 2 planning video series, with today's topic being about weapon mechanics. As a reminder, these planning video series are basically videos where I discuss some of the current plans, designs, or concepts that are already made in the Realish 2 Trello, and I'm basically making these known public. This is mostly for feedback and to generate minimal hype. I hope I can get started on developing Realish 2 sometime in 2022, and all of this is dependent on when I can really finish the Linux vs. Zombies Tycoon 2. During the meantime though, I'll still create Realish 2 playing videos monthly or whatever time I want. So for this topic, I think the best way for me to do this topic of weapon mechanics is to explain the mechanics for groups of weapons. And if you don't know what I mean by that, you'll understand when I start the video. So yeah, let's do this. The overall tool handling in Realish 2 is going to be a lot more realish than it was in Realish 1. And what I mean by tool handling, I'm referring to how your character acts with what they can and cannot do while doing a certain action with a tool. In Realish 1, the overall tool handling mechanic that was really present was equipping a weapon, and you can still reload a lot of weapons without keeping the tool equipped. In Realish 2, there will be a lot more handling rules. There's going to be equip time, of course, and unequip time for a majority of weapons. Many of the guns in the game will have aim stability and hip stability handling rules, which pretty much determines the cursor steadiness while aiming and while not aiming, bloom, and more. Many of the melees of the game will have durability and with stamina, especially if you use melee abilities. Weapon handling while being inside of vehicles will be a lot more realish, and yeah. As I said before, the mechanics for guns when it comes to their handling will have equip time, unequip time, aim stability, hip stability, bloom, and additional more mechanical rules. Firing guns in Realish 2 is going to be slightly different compared to Realish 1. It will still be bullet time, bullet speed, and there won't be any bullet drop like it was in Realish 1. Bullet piercing is going to be handled quite differently though. They're going to be effective in the environments of Realish 2. You used to be able to shoot through glass, and you'll be able to shoot through thin, softer surfaces like wood, cloth, and such. There's going to be the possibilities of bullets bouncing off of really hard surfaces and even armor. Weapons that shoot like really powerful bullets like the Gatling gun will be able to like affect the environment itself, where it will be able to break trees and damage them. There will be bullet trails in the bullet tracers. Snipers will leave like long lasting trails, and weak weapons like pistols will leave like the shortest trails. Bullets will have their own armor damage multiplier, their own limb brutality damage multiplier, and there's going to be a variety of bullets. There's going to be explosive bullets, flaming bullets, slug rounds, cluster rounds, retro-setting bullets, which are basically extra bouncing bullets, split bullets, and even different types of bullets you can unlock for various of guns and attachments. How ammo is going to be handled is going to remain mostly the same. If you run out of ammo, you just go look for an ammo box or an explosive crate if you're using special ammo. And maybe the locations will be highlighted if you completely have no ammo. And I'm still deciding if LMGs are going to be unrefillable like it was in Realish 1, or I'm going to make it where it takes up like the entire ammo box just to refill one magazine of it. In Realish 2, I'll make it where you can carry around more ammo at a time, but you still spawn at like low reserves like it is in Realish 1. And also in this game, I'll make it where you can pick up ammo from dead enemies, and if they use the same weapon type as you can swap weapons with them. And by weapon type, I mean like same weapon class type. Like if you pick up a primary weapon, you swap out your primary weapon, and if you pick up a melee weapon, you swap out your melee weapon. There's going to be more functionality to guns in Realish 2. There will be fire mode toggles if you have more than one fire mode toggle available. Aiming toggles if you have multiple optic attachments, or if you have optics that have like different zoom variables. And of course, deal wielding will be more complex. Instead of automatically shooting both your weapons at once, you'll be able to shoot them separately and still be able to aim with dual wielded weapons. And since there are going to be more different types of dual wields, the controls with sword wielding, knife wielding and such, there's going to be more functionality to the guns in Realish 2. Melee weapons are going to have more depth in them compared to Realish 1. The basic configurations of melee weapons in Realish 2 are going to have blocking, breaking, dodging, countering, and sprinting. And by basic configurations, I mean these are the baseline mechanics for a basic melee weapon in Realish 2. Meaning melee weapons don't always only have these configurations, and not all of them will have all of the basic configurations. I'll explain what I mean by that later, but I'll first explain the basic mechanics for melee weapons. So all melee weapons will have stamina, and also when you jump you use stamina. You can't use stamina for any other weapon type, you can only sprint using your melee weapon. Blocking is a melee mechanic that helps you block damage from attacking melee weapons. When you block, you drain stamina, and when you successfully block an attack, You gain a little bit of the stamina, and your attacking opponent wastes their stamina. Breaking is a melee mechanic that basically functions as a heavy attack, which means you basically swing harder. It allows you to do more damage and you swing a little bit slower, but the main point of this is to break and punish people for blocking too much. When you use a breaking attack on someone who's blocking, not only do they lose a lot of stamina, but they're also briefly stunned for a little bit. And it can be stunned in their speed or in their stamina regeneration, and it can possibly break their melee weapon. Dodging is a melee mechanic that helps you dodge incoming attack. Dodging is supposed to be way more harder to use and way less reliable than blocking and uses more stamina, but it's the most rewarding because it helps you dodge attacks, of course, and it fills up your counter meter. Now, countering is a melee mechanic that basically allows you to counter your opponents. It uses a visible counter meter that you see when you dodge someone's attack, or if you perform a perfect block. And a perfect block is when you block pretty quickly, but not too early and not too late. You can lose your counter meter when you take melee damage or if you get blocked yourself. But it's supposed to be a rewarding badass mechanic where if you dodge someone like 2 or 3 times in a row, you can automatically counter them and like slice their head off, for example. And when you keep on refilling your counter meter, your minimum counter meter gets lower, which helps you counter more often and rewards high skill living melee players. Like I said earlier, these are basic configurations for basic melees, but there's way more mechanics that can be found on a variety of melee weapons. Like for example, charging isn't mentioned, but that will return in Realish 2 and be more balanced where it's risky to do and it has a pre-charge time so you don't instantly charge into people. And of course, it'll take a lot of stamina to use. Spinning is something new to Realish, but it's used in News vs Zombies Tycoon 2, and it will be in Realish 2 in some of the melee weapons. Choking is a mechanic that's going to return in Realish 2, and not only for the Brawl tool, and it's going to function a little differently. Choking is going to be a risky high stamina but overkill melee mechanic where if you choke someone, you basically do like a really obvious, somewhat slow grab attempt, and if you miss, you're basically screwed. But if you grab someone, they're basically screwed, unless they're safe from choking and execution from the choking. Choking can also function differently on different weapons.
Oh, pause!
Like for example, the knife will have the ability to choke people, but if you choke someone from behind, you can move them around and like slash off their neck without using much stamina. But if you choke someone in the front using a knife, you have to like grapple them on the floor and like you can't move at all yourself, and it takes a long time to execute them.
Pause.
There's also additional melee mechanics. Some melees can be thrown, some melees can have bleeding mechanics, some melees have switchable melee modes. Yeah. Talking about the mechanics of gadgets is going to be pretty interesting since there's going to be a huge variety of gadgets in Realish as it is, and a larger variety planned for Realish 2. So, I guess I'll start by going through the category types of gadgets in Realish 2. There's going to be a lot of medical healing based gadgets. There's going to be some for restoring health to others and yourself, for healing and repairing limbs, giving others health packs as a gadget, or even giving food to others as a medical based gadget. There's going to be medical support based gadgets like health auras, speed auras, and damage auras like in Star Wars Battlefront. And like other support based gadgets like drop walls and bubble shields and gravity pads. just to make medics be more supported in the front lines. Suppliers will still have fortification based gadgets. They'll still be able to use sandbags, barbed wires, fences, barricades, tank traps, and they'll be able to make both turret deployers and even automatic turrets. Recons will still be able to use a lot of infantry trap based gadgets. Rather, it can be automatic ones like claymores, bear traps, or even wire grenades. Or they can use manual infantry trap based gadgets like remote cars or even explosive flying drones that you have to pilot manually and that can explode easily. Recons will also have more spotting based gadgets. Flare guns won't be a thing just to set people on fire alone like it is in Realish 1, but will be used to help eliminate light to spot people. And there could be manual spotting gadgets like recon drones and spotlights, or automatic spotting gadgets like motion sensors, UAVs, and such. Demolitionists will still get the boom stuff gadgets like launchers and big explosives. There'll be more variety of launchers. You still get like your rocket launchers, but it'll be like anti-air launchers, anti-vehicle launchers, and even more. Demolitionists will get more big explosive gadgets like mortars, landmines, C4s, SAM turrets, dome turrets, automatic grenade launcher turrets, and even more. Heavy gadgets in Realish 2 will be powerful role changers for heavy classes. For example, I mentioned in my last Realish 2 video where they can use jetpacks, making them like mobile based heavy gadgets, heavy classes. Yeah. Grenades will function as most grenades do. You throw them, you wait, and they explode with some exceptions to different types of grenades. Practically almost all of the grenades that are in Realist 1 will return to Realist 2, and since there's already a pretty good commendable amount of grenades in Realist 1, there's not too many new grenades I can really add into Realist 2, other than heavy grenades. And heavy grenades are going to be a new class of grenades for Realist where only heavy classes can use, but have much more power to them than in regular grenades. As for the throwing mechanic, I'm still deciding if I should keep the ridiculous landing, a grenade throwing like it is in Realist 1, or for a more realistic grenade throw like in News vs. Zombies Tycoon 2. Vehicles in Realist 2 will sometimes have weaponry on them that can be used by gunners and drivers. Passengers will also sometimes be able to use their weapons they have equipped on them and can do drive-bys if the vehicle isn't completely boxed in. There also will be a lot of funny cheating where you'll be able to use, the driver and gunner seat while also at the same time using your own weapon. And a lot of vehicles where the driver's seat have powerful cannons or powerful secondary turrets like missiles or bombs will have limited ammo capacity like it is in Battlefield 4, which will refill over time and probably will refill faster if you're in a pilot class. Gunners will more than likely get some type of continuous firebreaker like overheating or limited clip size or even a lock-on requirement to prevent them from always spraying and keeping everyone down on the battlefield. Vehicles can use a variety of turrets, whether it can be chain guns, artillery, cannons, missiles, rocket pods, grenade launchers, and whatever I decided the vehicle should have. And, yeah. So yep, those are the weapon mechanics for Realist 2. Anyways, if you made it this far, thanks for watching and listening, and enjoying the video if you did. Comment down below if you got something to say, and bye.